Hi, this is Justin from ScaleModelScenery.co.uk and RailwayModelers.com, and Tina's laughing at me already. Last week I said I was going to do a Q&A, so thank you to everybody that sent in questions. Got a fair few actually to run through. Quite interesting and varied array of questions actually. But before I get to those, this week bit of a blur as usual. We're up to our ears in getting ready for Wally, so there's no new products just yet. There are some things I'm working on, as always, and I'll get to them hopefully between now and Wally, and certainly between now and Christmas. But at the moment we're just preparing stock and things ready to take to the show and various other things for later in the year. So, questions then. Say, good array of questions, quite interesting reading. So I guess the best thing to do is run through them. So here we go. Hopefully it won't take hours and hours. First up, Mike says, what's the best weight of card you recommend for printing on the likes of brick paper and paving, etc., i.e. 180 gram, 220 gram, and would I add selling the card to our range? Good question. The main thing is, if you need to shape the brickwork or the paving that you're around something, so if you're using, say, a strip of MDF or plywood or whatever, and you're using it to make a strip of pavement, you're going to want to wrap the textures around the edge of the former, basically. And the same with walls and buildings and things. If you're wrapping the texture around a building, you're going to want a nice sharp edge. And the only way to get a nice sharp edge, this is the let the dog in moment actually, Tina's just let me. If you're going to want to wrap the paper around the edge of something, you're going to want to use the thinnest paper you possibly can get away with. That will give you a nice sharp edge. So as you fold it around the corner, if you give it a rub with your finger, or you can rub it with the edge of a straight edge, gently, you can get a nice sharp corner. So things like pavements and walls, etc., you're going to want to wrap it round. Use the thinnest paper you can. We would tend to use 80 GSM or 100 GSM paper, but use a decent quality paper, but as thin as you can get away with. Obviously it depends on the glue you're using. If you're using Yoo-hoo, I think I've demonstrated this in another video, I do a kind of kid scribbling technique with the Yoo-hoo. Get it all over the page, let it dry for 30 seconds or so, it just goes tacky, and then smooth it on, and you don't get any leakage or any or seepage or anything around the edges, and it doesn't make the paper too wet. If you're using PVA, I don't know really, you want something reasonably thick because it's obviously water based, so it will soak up into the paper. So it's a case of trial and error really. But if you use brick papers that you need to wrap around stuff, use the thinnest paper you can. If you need strength and structure, you need to create the structure using whatever it is you've printed the brick paper on, then you need to use a 200-250 GSM card or thicker. But if you're building a large structure, to make sure everything stays nice and sturdy, I'd back it with card anyway, even if you're using 250 gram card. Yes, we'll add the stuff to the range. We won't sell the paper because you can get it readily from your local office supply shop and things like that, Staples or whatever. Card tends to come in bigger packages, so what we'll try and do is we'll add packs of 20 sheets or something like that, or 25 sheets to the range as soon as we can. So that's that one. Well, Mike says he loves the new video format, which is really good to hear. I hope you're enjoying these. They're quite nerve-wracking to do, but I do quite enjoy them in a weird way. Next up, Alex says, hi Justin, Tina and the gang. My question is, with all the shipping container kits you've got, do you have the 20-foot and 40-foot Coca-Cola ones to go with the release of the Hornby Christmas train set? I found a couple of Coca-Cola ones. We've got a 20-foot and a 40-foot. My only concern there obviously is in fact Coca-Cola. It's their brand. Can't really sell all the branded versions. So what I might do is just make those available as freebies. So I'll do them either by the Railway Modelers Club, or I'll do them on Model Railway Scenery site, but I may do them as free downloads or something like that. So, but I'll have a think about that. They are there. We've got 20-foot and 40-foot curtain side containers, so I'll come up with something for that. Alistair says, your LX22800 roof slates are excellent, but why are there no ridge tiles? That's a really good question actually. Why are there no ridge tiles? I don't know. I guess I'd better put some in. So I think over the next couple of weeks, and if I can do them before Wally, I will. I'll do some separate packs of ridge tiles for anybody that wants them, and I'll also add some extra strips. Rob on Facebook did message the other day, I think it was Rob, and said, how about doing some decorative ridge tiles, you know, the kind of Victorian things with a sort of obviously ridge tile like that, and then you've got some of the sort of decorative piece that goes across the top, like a, I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, a decorative ridge tile. So I'm going to have a play with those. I might not get a chance this side of the end of November, but I'll see what I can do. So good point there, Alistair, I'll get it sorted. Another Alistair says, really enjoying the new Look Wednesday newsletter. Here's a possible question for new products. Having built a few of the nice little 20-foot MOD container kits, I was wondering if you have any chance you would do a similar kit for 20-foot compacted rubbish containers, as used on many bin liner services across the country. Crikey, what's 36 of them? It's going to be busy then. The answer is yes. I just need to find drawings, dimensions and photographs. So Alistair, if you're watching this, if you've got any drawings, any dimensions or photographs, it would help no end. I think I know what you mean and I can probably find them, but if you've got anything that suits your requirements, I'll add it to the list. And obviously, as we tell everybody, and Ian tells people, well, daily almost, I think, on the phone, if you would like us to have a go at doing anything, it's not a problem. There is a bit of a queue. It's quite a long queue. But we're happy to have a go at projects that would fit in with that, like with things that could become a standard product. All we ask is if you've got any drawings, dimensions and sketches and things like that, even just a fag packet sketch with a rough idea of how big things should be. It helps us get started and helps us get a prototype together really quickly. I would say prototype. Helps us get a prototype together really quickly. It just speeds things up. So if you've got anything, brilliant. So the answer to that is yes, we'll have a go if we can get some drawings. Les says, opening the can of worms, have you any idea how Brexit will affect customers in the EU? Will there be extra postage charges, customs duties, etc.? I've no idea, to be honest. My general understanding is if we do finally leave the EU, and I don't know whether we ever will, but if we do, my general understanding is that it will be just like, for us, just like shipping to the US, Australia, Canada and all the rest of it. We'll put customs labels on, which declares everything to the customs the other end. I guess it is a bit like, I suppose, when you buy stuff in from China or wherever outside the EU now, if the order's over a certain value, you're likely to get nobbled for the import duty, but I'm afraid that's life. We have to declare what we're shipping, particularly now, I think, as they've brought in EORI numbers, as they call them, EORI numbers, we have to put those on everything and we have to declare what's in parcels, or we will do going forward. We have to do it on overseas parcels anyway, on outside the EU stuff. So it's going to be the same thing. I suppose if it's over a certain value, you may be asked to pay the import tax, but that's up to the relative governments and customs vote. If you get the customs people on a good day, chances are you might not get nobbled, but who knows? So I don't know, but I'm sure we'll still be able to ship stuff abroad. It shouldn't be any major problems. I don't imagine the postage is going to go up, postage charges. I think that'll stay pretty similar, because we're still just sending to Spain and France and Portugal, etc. Adrian says, first up, can I have a job? We're not hiring at the moment, Adrian, but when we relocate to Cornwall, hopefully next year, then we may be looking for 1 or 2 people, but we'll see how we go. His other question is, what 3D printers do we use, and do I have any experience of the Anycubic Photon 3D DLP printer? We use a number of 3D printers, from really cheap and cheerful ones right the way up to quite expensive professional ones. They're all good and bad in their own little ways. Weirdly enough, some of the cheaper ones have been running brilliantly, and they're just sort of £200–300 machines. You can get them from any 3D print store, Amazon sell them. We just go for a brand that's fairly well known. Weirdly, the cheaper ones seem to run with very little problem at the moment, and the more expensive ones seem to be a right thorn in my side. So they're so much more capable and they do better print quality, but when they go wrong big time. So really, it's, I say you get what you pay for. It's not, in a way. Our experience has been the opposite way. So the lower the value of the printer, we seem to get, in some respects, better prints and more reliability. But the only benefit with that is, well, with the cheaper printers, is the parts are cheaper and you can service them yourself. Software-wise, he's asked about software. That's down to personal preference. Adam loves SketchUp. I can't stand it. I quite like Fusion, Tinkercad, and a couple of others. Fusion I really like, but obviously that's got costs associated with it. There's an annual fee for that, I think, after the first, whatever it is, few months or something. Tinkercad is a cut down version of it, but it's down to you. It's up to you, whatever you prefer, really, in terms of software. There's so many different ones out there, and SketchUp's free. It just depends what you get on with, really. It's personal preference. A bit like with designing stuff. If you like Photoshop, you like Photoshop. If you like CorelDRAW, you like CorelDRAW. If you like, I don't know, whatever. Any designers, it's personal preference. John says, hi, is there any chance of you laser cutting colour light ground signals and colour light calling on signals? A bit like the reply to Alistair's earlier, if you've got some pictures, John, or you've got some dimensions of some sketches, I'm happy to take a look at it, and if we can do them, we will do. I can't imagine they're particularly complicated, and it would be a nice little project to do, but it really comes down to dimensions and things, so if you've got any drawings or sketches of them, please let us have them. David says, Justin, is it possible for you to produce more pre-BR laser cut products, GWR, etc., etc.? The answer to that is absolutely. I've got several books in the cupboard behind my desk with plans and all sorts of things, and I've got numerous copies of magazines with sketches and drawings and all sorts of things going back years and years and years. An awful lot of GWR stuff and all of the other regions as well. Loads of stuff I want to do. We've got to get this whole operation to a point where I can spend more time at my desk, or we can get somebody else involved in the design side of things, for us to be able to do all the things we want to do. But at some point, yes, we'll be releasing a number of different kits. I've got in my sights a GWR cattle dock, and there's some platform stuff I'm supposed to be working on. There's loads of bits. We've got a waiting room. I've got another waiting room, which is just remembered. It goes back 3 or 4 years, I think. I started it when we first had the laser. So yes, lots of stuff I want to do. I'll get on with it as soon as I possibly can. Darren says, can we see the bandstand? Yes, Darren, you can. I'm going to do a separate video on that, and it'll be in a few days' time. Hopefully I'll get it sorted. It's over on my desk in a couple of pieces at the moment. I'll get back onto it. I definitely want to get that done as close to completion as I can before Wally, if possible. So as soon as we've got some more stock cut and we're getting there, I'll get back onto that. Paul says, I was looking for a substation but not much on the market. How about producing one? That's a really good idea. It's something that I've thought about a little bit in the past. When there's one down the bottom of the road which we walk past when we take Lola out for a walk. It needs to be 3D printed. It's the type with the sort of pipes, transformer coils, whatever they are, around the outside of the substation. That would be a really interesting project to do on a 3D printer. So yeah, I'll have a word with Adam about it, because he's doing most of the 3D stuff at the moment, and see if he's got any ideas for what we could do with that. Dave, really interesting one actually, and this is one I've not yet written an answer for because I'm not quite sure actually. We've all given you our projects and wish lists, says Dave, etc., for you to design for us, but if you could design one new project of your own, what would it be? To be honest, if I had time to sit at my desk and just tinker, I think I'd probably design something based around a house that Tina and I really like in Cornwall. There's a few very modern ones, and I'd love to do a model of it, just out of pure devilment, really, just pure enjoyment, just something to do. It's a house that overlooks the sea in a nice little village. It's quite a largish house, and it's one of those that's kind of ultimate dream home kind of things. But I'd love to do a model of it. I did once have a plan for it. I managed to look for sale once, but I can't find it anymore. But that would be quite a nice one to do. And I'd like to do some more very modern buildings. That's my kind of thing, architecture-wise. I like modern minimalist design, so I'd like to have a play with that sort of thing. Very sort of modern architecture. But one day I might have a play, you see, but that's what I do, I think. Another David says, thanks for the opportunity to ask questions. I'm modelling a 00 gauge layout set in the 1930s. I'm finding it hard to get figures dedicated to this era. There are loads of modern examples and many from 50s and 60s, but the 30s seem to be overlooked. To be honest, my first port of call as far as figures is concerned, because all we stock is the Preiser and Faller and Knock ones, which are all German and all HO scale. I would say to give Alan at Model U a shout. If he's not done anything yet, I'm sure he'll have a go at something. I know he's very busy, but I would say he's your first port of call really for model figures for any era. I know he's doing a lot of Victorian ones and things like that, so I imagine he'll probably do some 30s, between the First and Second World War era at some point. But give Alan a shout. He's a nice chap, and I'm sure he'll be happy to help if he can. Chris says, a good while ago we asked about laser cutting personalised 00 gauge platform totem signs. We did indeed, actually did indeed. I did give it some thought a while back. I know I can do them. Basically, we'd like to be able to offer customised sheets of BR totem signs which we can cut using the camera on the laser cutter. I'm very mindful while I'm doing this, because somebody commented the other day saying, any chance you could do a video where you sat on your hands, and I'm standing there doing this all the time while I'm talking. It made me chuckle. Right, yeah, we can do them cut using the camera on the laser cutter. So in theory, we could get you guys to type in, because I was talking to my PHP chap, the chap does some programming for me, about customising PDF files in the server. In theory, this is in theory, we could get it so you could type your station name into a box on the website, on a website somewhere. That would generate a PDF file. We download the PDF file, which have your exact station name sign as you want it, with all your spelling and everything in it. We just then print it and send it straight to the laser and cut it. That would be the ultimate solution, and it's something I will speak to Joe about. It's doable, just need to do it. But yeah, it's doable, and I think it's a very good one actually, because if we could do them, as Chris says, they're really hard to cut out accurately, particularly when you're working with small ones, on lampposts and things like that. They're rather hard to cut, whereas the laser, it can cut it just as well as anything else. So I'll get on to that. Don says, having seen your twin axle trailers, I was wondering if you'd considered doing a water fuel Bowser as used on building sites, highway maintenance sites, various different designs, and looked really good on a railway on diorama. Yeah, another really good idea. I'll speak to Adam about that one, because obviously we've got the trailer designs. It wouldn't take a lot to put a nice tank on the top, Bowser tank thing on the top. So I'll have a word with him about that. I'm sure there's loads of pictures on Google we can find anyway, so that's not a particularly difficult one. So I'll speak to Adam later on tonight or tomorrow about that and mention that. Clive says, Justin, would you consider making West Coast mainline relay boxes with horns as from the 1960s to the 90s, where the horns were used to signal permanent way gangs to get in touch with the signalmen? In the power signal box, the horns made a yodeling sound. I'm sending some photos and drawings. Yeah, to be honest, I didn't know. That shows my lack of railway knowledge in some respect. I didn't know they had horns on those. I've not seen any, but I guess looking at Clive's photos, yeah, they had horns on. So I'll have a chat to Adam again, because these would be 3D printed, obviously. We couldn't model those, couldn't laser cut the horns, but they'd be ideal to do on the resin printer. So we'll have a go with that. Then lastly, I think, is John. John says, can I order from you by post and pay by cheque? Yeah, of course, no problem. The only restriction there is I need to get an order form to you somehow. So what I'll probably do is I'll put a PDF order form on the website that you can download from somewhere. I'll make it obvious, and you can download and print it if you want to, or if you want to do it at the end of the day, if you want to order by post, all you need is our postal address, which is on the website. And as long as you make the cheques payable to Scale Model Scenery Limited, there shouldn't be a problem. The only other thing I would say is we would probably have to say a minimum order value for cheques of about £25, only because Barclays charges an extortionate amount to pay cheques in. Otherwise, of course, you can order over the phone, which Tina's just done the phone signal at me to make sure I said it about the phone. You can order if you call Ian in the sales office. He's at home in Doncaster, but if you call Ian in the sales office, which sounds really swanky, on 01530 456 952 and press option 1, he can take your order over the phone. He could put your order on the system, and if you still wanted to pay by cheque, you could then just send a cheque in and he'll mark your order as pending, and we can sort it out that way. So that way you would know the exact totals including postage. Obviously if you're ordering from the Highlands and Islands, Scotland and wherever else, there may be different postal charges depending on what you're ordering. If you're ordering baseboards and things, it might be a bit more expensive to ship, so at least he can work that out for you. But then at least, and also if you're ordering things that we check stock of or whatever else, if it's things we buy in, they can make sure we've got them available and can reserve the stock for you. Whereas if you send a check in an order form and we don't actually have the stock, it could be a few weeks for us to get some of the things in, particularly prize and figures and things like that. Once prize and figures go out of stock, sometimes it can be a year before we get them back in again. So that's the answer to that one really. So yeah, postal orders, or postal orders for payment are fine, to be honest, but orders by the post, paid by cheque, it's fine. Minimum order, £25 is all I'm saying. I think that's it. So thank you very much for watching. I think it is everything, yeah, done everybody's. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too boring. I quite enjoyed it actually. It was nice to get some questions in from people and get a bit of a dialogue going in a way. If any more come in, I'll save them for another Q&A in 2 or 3 weeks time, something like that. But in the meantime, we're going to crack on with preparations for Wally. I'm not sure what Tina's shaking her head at. No, Tina's not doing the preparations for Wally. No, I'm doing those. Tina's just doing, well, I say just. Tina's taking care of all the orders and making sure that everybody else. She's still shaking her head and laughing, but no, and we're just, yeah, in the, what do you call it? The downhill stretch now to Christmas, really. But yeah, better get on. Lasers just beat, so time to call it a night. Alright, thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I'd like to hear your comments. Any other questions, I'll answer them in a few weeks time, or if you ask questions in the comments, I'll also get back to you as soon as I possibly can. But cheers, thank you, good night.